Since I have been gambling professionally, I have never had a losing day at the roulette wheel. Signed, Donald Harris. Very well, panel. You've heard these three gentlemen all claiming to be Donald Harris, professional and successfully so, gambler. Let's start this first round of questioning with Ralph Bellamy. Ralph?
Number one. I guess it would be interesting to know where you play roulette professionally.
I play in Reno and Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Number two, what's the meaning of the term odds back of the line?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Number three, what is the meaning of odds behind the line, odds back of the line? Number one, would you know?
It's the wrong game.
Well, let me see. In 21, number one, I have to assume you know something about other gambling games. Do you stand or draw to 16?
You may never know. Dina?
Goodness. Number two, what nest egg do you start with on your evening or daytime, whatever it is? Is it evening or daytime? Do you do this all day?
Depends. Sometimes day, sometimes night. I start with about $1,000.
Every day? Number three, there is a legal limit outside the United States where one can or cannot gamble. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't.
Do you, number two?
No, I don't. I don't gamble.
Number one?
No, I don't.
You don't know anything about gambling ships, number one?
No.
Number two?
Nothing.
Three? Goodness.
Strictly landlocked lovers they are. Gene?
Number two, if you're a professional gambler, what are the odds of our guessing which one of you is the... We can get a little side bet going here.
About 4 to 1.
4 to 1, all right. If I put one chip on one number and it wins, how many chips will they pay me?
Depends on the size of your bet and depends on what number you put it on, whether it's red or black.
Number three, if I put one chip on a number and it wins, how many chips will be returned to me?
35.
Do you agree with that, number one?
Yes, I do.
Now, what is the little ball made of that the croupier spins around? Do you know? Number one? Sorry, number one.
Sometimes it's made of plastic, other times ivory.
Sally Ann?
Number one, what are the gambling laws in New York for roulette?
I don't believe there are any laws in New York.
Number two. I just want to know if I can do it here, that's all. Number two, is gambling allowed in London?
I don't know about the outside of the United States.
Number three, do you have to have a license to be a professional gambler?
No.
Number one, do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
Number two, do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
That's good.
Planning to take up a new career?
I'm not so sure if I do agree.
Well, that's all the time we have, so get your ballots and pencils in hand, and will you mark them right now, please, in the course of voting? And without consultation, vote as you do for number one, number two, or number three. Team of challengers will, of course, receive $250 for every incorrect vote. All set, all ballots marked? Wow, you passed on this first round. Gene, which one did you select?
Well... Number three doesn't look like a real riverboat man to me. Number two gave me a wrong answer, and I really didn't ask any questions of number one, so I voted for him. It's a gamble.
Sally Ann, which one is your
Well,
choice?
I voted also for number one, and the only reason I can give is I have a little dice here and underneath the panel, and it came out one.
It did.
The hard way.
Yeah, I'll say that's making a point the hard way. Ralph?
I voted for number one. I have a feeling we didn't ask the right questions. I think the information was mainly on roulette, and it's just on a hunch. I'm going with number one.
And Dina?
Well, that makes it unanimous, but
Oh,
I'm
my
also
goodness.
with number one. Number three doesn't have that kind of look that a professional gambler ought to have, I don't think. Number two didn't know about the 35 to 1 odds on one chip. I don't know very much about roulette. But number one, somehow.
All right, let's see whether the somehow is right or wrong and find out which of these three gentlemen is the real winning professional gambler. So will the real Donald Harris please stand up?
Well, I'm giving up dice, that's for sure.
At least those dice that you threw you should give up. Huh?
Yeah.
Is he of legal age to gamble?
I guess he is. How old are you?
23.
23 years old. Never had a winning night. How about that? Not had a losing night, I mean. Never a losing night, all winning. Boy, I wish I knew what his new system was. It's going to double its stake. Let's find out about these other two gentlemen. Number one, you garnered all the votes. You really fooled them in this bit of gamble. What is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Larry Davis. I'm vice president of Davis Optical Company, and I fit contact lenses.
We have to talk to you. Number two, your real name and what do you do, please?
My name is Rod McEwen. I'm a published poet and a twist singer, currently appearing at the Versailles, Trudy Heller's Versailles in New York.
I'd like to note, for all ages, right here and now, that Rod McEwen wrote and recorded those immortal ballads, You Ought to See Oliver Twist, and another one, I Dig Her Wig. Well, in checking up the score on our own tote board here, we find there were 4 incorrect. At $250 each, gentlemen, that's not a bad evening's fun. You must admit, that's $1,000 to divide among you. And also, of course, you'll receive a gift package of the fine products from the makers of Tristan. We thank you very much, even though you didn't share your secret with us. Good night, and God bless you. Panel, let's meet our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Juliet Bridgman.
My name is Juliet Bridgman.
My name is Juliet Bridgman.
Again, may I ask you to follow along with your copies of this second affidavit, panel? I, Juliet Bridgman, am the only woman in the world who makes a living by taking men on fishing trips. I guide groups of from 6 to a dozen sportsmen on organized fishing tours in South America. We specialize in freshwater fish, mostly trout and landlocked salmon. Our trips last from 2 to 4 weeks and take us from the fabulous fishing lakes around Bariloche, Argentina, to the mountain streams near Ushuaia, the southernmost town in the world, just 600 miles from the Antarctic. Signed, Juliet Bridgman. Panel, these 3 ladies all claim to be, as you heard, Juliet Bridgman, fishing guide for men. And we'll start this cross-examination with that intrepid fisherman, Gene Rayburn.
Never did it in my life. Number one, tell me, how do you fish? Do you fish from a boat or from the bank of a river?
Both.
You do from both?
Yes.
And how many people do you take on the boat at one time?
3 men can fish simultaneously.
Number two, how many varieties of trout have you caught, or members of your party?
Yeah, I caught 1 rainbow and 1 lake trout, 1 lake fish.
All that in how many years of fishing? Oh, the varieties, I see. Number 3, can you name some of the lakes that you fished on?
Traful in Bariloche.
Sally Ann.
Number 3, when you reel in, is the rod in an upward position or downward position?
Depends on how hard the fish is tugging it.
Number 2, would you answer that question?
Well, when you pull in the fish comes in, when you reel it, it comes in just as you want to have it come in.
Number 1.
It depends upon the weight of it.
Whee! This is a good one to catch, isn't it? Hard to land. I think I need the net somewhere. Could I ask you?
Quickly?
Quickly, would you answer that? Do you, is the rod, I've lost the question myself. Is it up or down when you reel in?
Downward.
Ralph.
Thank you.
Number one, what lures or bait do you use for this landlocked salmon?
Plugs or spoon. There are about, well, thousands of different types that one can use.
Number two, what's the weight or size, the average weight or size of this salmon?
Well, they run from 8 pounds to about 14.
Number three, where's your headquarters? Where do you start these trips from?
From New York.
Dina.
Number three, it's a little off your beat, but what do you catch at Capablanco?
I don't go to Capablanco.
Number two, do you know Capablanco?
We don't go there.
I know that, but do you know where it is and what you catch?
No, I don't know. I'm
Number
not
one?
familiar with it.
It's in Peru.
Yes,
And they
what do you
fish
catch?
tarpon and marlin, I believe.
Yes, thank you. Number two, do you catch, kill, or trap a salmon?
Hey, that's all the time we have. That's one salmon that gets away. So will you kindly mark your ballots right now without any further questioning and, of course, without consultation. And vote as you do so for number one, number two, or number three. All set? Okay, Gene, which one this time?
Number two, and I'll tell you why. Because I've got it all figured out. You would expect us to choose either one or three with, you know, the beautifully coiffed hair and the fair skin and all that, instead of number two, who looks more like an outdoor type lady. But going beyond that reasoning, you see, I picked number two. She's the one.
Sally Ann.
Mine's going to sound simple after that. I chose number one because I don't know anything about fishing except that I found it much easier to get the fish when the rod was down. So I'm hoping that that's the correct way of doing it. So as number one answered it that way, I vote for number one.
Would you repeat that, please?
I voted for number three, Bud. Again, just a hunch. I'm really baffled tonight, I guess.
Dina, what is your choice?
I voted for number one, Bud, because she did know where Capablanco was, and anyone who's interested in fishing as such would know something about saltwater fishing besides freshwater.
All right, there we have it once again. The fly has been cast, and so has the die. And we're about to find out which one of these ladies is the real leader of fishing expeditions. So will the real Juliet Bridgman please stand up?
I'm so happy.
Gene, you haven't got to know us very well, have you?
No, you're pretty sneaky.
Number two, may we have your real name and what you really do, please?
Well, my name is Dorothy Brooks. I'm a lawyer, and I'm publisher of the Murray Hill News.
Ever do any fishing?
Yes, I have done some fishing.
But not a great deal.
No.
Number three, your real name and what do you do, please?
My name is Ann Crotty, and I'm an interior decorator.
Ever had occasion to put any fish up on the wall in interior decorating?
Oh, sometimes.
Part of somebody's den. Well, ladies, you did sort of a half and half evening here, which is not too bad when you consider that at $250 each, two incorrect votes totals from Tristan to $500. And if you had fun, that more than makes up for any difference you might have had. Thank you very much for being with us. You'll also receive a gift package of the fine products from the makers of Tristan. Good night to you and bless you. Now, panel, let's meet our third team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Malcolm Byer.
My name is Malcolm Byer.
My name is Malcolm Byer.
Once more, panel, will you direct your attention to your copies of this affidavit? I, Malcolm Byer, deal in rare and exotic foods. My customers include the most exclusive restaurants in the country, and my market is the world. Before adding a new item to my catalog, I investigate it thoroughly and personally. Such investigations have taken me to all 6 continents. I will have nothing to do with fad foods, but concentrate on legitimate delicacies such as iguana tail, kangaroo haunches, hazel hen, Scotch grouse, ptarmigan, fresh caviar from the Caspian Sea, and reindeer tongue from Norway. Signed, Malcolm Bayer. We've just met three intrepid gentlemen who might be said to have the courage of their own convictions, food-wise, all claiming to be Malcolm Bayer, dealer in exotic foods. And we'll start this round with Sally Ann Howe. Sally Ann?
Number one, what is a haggis?
It's a fish.
Number two, what is a haggis?
A haggis is a fish.
Number three, what is a haggis?
It's a sheep belly.
What is it made of? Number three.
It's made of the intestines of the sheep, the
Thank
inside
you.
of the sheep.
Number one, in which country do they eat caterpillars?
Say that again, please.
Not for my benefit.
In which country do they eat caterpillars?
China.
Number two, which country do they fry ants? See, I'm an exotic food eater myself.
I don't import those, so I have no idea.
Number three, where do they fry ants?
I believe in Japan.
Ralph.
Thank you.
Number one, what's the difference between red and black caviar?
Well, red's not a caviar. It's a roll.
Number two, of all these exotic foods, which is the most in demand?
Well, in this case, caviar, black caviar.
Number three, where is all your food prepared and canned, and what label does it bear?
It doesn't bear any particular label. Much of it comes in frozen, individual pieces.
Where? To where?
To New York.
New York. Number one, what restaurant around the world uses the most of these exotic foods?
In the United States, probably the 21 Club in New York.
Dina.
Number one, you said earlier that red caviar is a roe. You mean black caviar is not a roe? I thought
No, black caviar is a fish egg, and the red caviar is actually a roll out of a fish.
Well,
Oh, fish egg.
I thought they were the same thing, no?
No.
No, okay. Number two, did you go to Australia looking for kangaroos?
Well, I have been to Australia looking for kangaroos. I don't really have to go there. They send them to me.
What do the Australians think of kangaroos? Are they considered friendly creatures or nice or pests? Or
Well, they consider them pests when they have the roundups every year, and that's how I get the kangaroos.
Oh.
Gene, number one, you mean to sit there and tell us that you'd kill a reindeer and eat its tongue? Would you do that?
I'm afraid I would, yes.
Number two, how about giving us a recipe for kangaroo haunches?
All right, a recipe for kangaroo haunches.
Excuse me, I'll be back when you're finished. Can you tell us how kangaroo haunches are prepared? Remember, you're under oath now, number two.
The same way that you would prepare venison or any kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Marinate it and broil it or bake it.
Do you hang it?
Well, you hang it, yes, for a while before you eat it.
Hang the kangaroo while you get his paunch.
I bet you get a kick out of that recipe, don't you? How much is caviar?
We've come to the end of it again. We can't dine exotically anymore at the moment, but simply write down your own menu for the one that you think is the real one. Without consultation, vote now, if you will, for number one, number two, or number three. All set? My, you are fast tonight. Gene. Your
Well,
Time.
Bud, these really have me confused, so I've got a little message for you. I vote for number two because he's got such a beautiful head of hair. What can I tell you?
Sally Ann, which is your selection?
Oh, I voted for number three because he was the only one out of the three that knew what a haggis was. And I was very impressed with that, and I hope I'm right.
Ralph.
Number three, for the same reason, haggis. They were all very good, but I had to stay with number three.
Dina?
The same.
Oh, thank goodness I just...
And for the same reason?
And for the same reason.
Same reason.
Yes.
All right, there we have 3 for 3 and 1 for 2 and none for 1. Let's find out how right or wrong we are right now as we learn which one of these gentlemen is the real dealer in most exotic foods. Will the real Malcolm Bayer please stand up. Yes, I guess the haggis was the one that tipped the apple cart in that one. But nonetheless, let's find out about you other two gentlemen. Number one, would you tell us your real name and what you really do?
Yes, my name is Patrick Young. I'm a lieutenant colonel in the Marine Corps, and I'm the Marine Corps Information Officer in New York.
And number two, your real name and what you do, please.
My name is Wade Barnes, and I'm Vice President of Orbit Film Distributors.
Just to keep the record straight, Malcolm Bayer is president of the Iron Gate Products Company. Is that correct, sir? That's correct. Right. I wish I could have had camera shots exclusively of Dina while Sally Ann was asking about the caterpillars. Your expressions were really out of this world.
We were talking about it in the dressing room. That was so funny because Dina was in Australia, and I said, did you ever eat caterpillars? Just by chance.
I was the one who had eaten the caterpillar.
You have?
Yes.
Oh, yes, that was right. But you were...
Spanish caterpillar.
Well, let's see how we stand here now. 1, 2, 3 correct this time. Only one incorrect, $250. But if you had a laugh or two, you gave us a good time, and we thank you for that, gentlemen. Also, from Dristan, you will also receive a gift package of their fine products. Good night to you, and bless you all. Didn't mean to tease you, Dina, believe me about that, but it's so funny. You know how people do react to a visual thing like that? And I think, especially us performers, we do it a little more. But you tasted every morsel of those horrible things, and you didn't like any of it. We should have had you get up and do a bit of the twist when we talked about the twist, Gene. I understand you're real good at that.
No, not really, Bud.
No?
No. You know, when you get to be an aging juvenile like me, you don't go for the twist and all these crazy new dances.
Well, it was nice having you with us.
Thank you, Bud.
As it was with all of you, and bless you all for giving me such a good time always.
Good night, Bud.
That's about it. Good night, panel.
Good night, Bud.
I want to say that today we started our day